Hello and welcome to the first part of a two-part series. I do apologize in advance for a lengthy video, but unfortunately this is the most important part of the build, which is the look. And the look is the paint job. And this one is going to be a custom paint job for the marble effect. So if you want to see me do the marble effect portion, go ahead and skip on over to part 2 and I get right to it. But if you want to see me do the full prep work, continue watching this video. That's right, y'all. The time has definitely come. I've been waiting for this. I am so eager to see what this bike is going to look like after I finish it. Oh man. I've already gone into this box here. This is the one that's got the new gas tank that's inside. I've already taken the shrink wrap and stuff off of it, so the tank is completely exposed. In fact, here, let me just show you. Just move some of these items. As you can see, I've already started on the sanding process. You can see where I've actually taken a razor blade and taken off those stickers, the ones that are here, and then the actual the decal for the bike, so you can see what size it is. I've started sanding that off. Taking the tail section off the bike, that was kind of tedious. If you ever get a hold of this little piece here, this goes in between the rear brake lights on this model bike. Oh man, I'll tell you right now, this is like $40 to $60 on freaking eBay. So don't break that, or you're gonna hate yourself. All right, let's move that here, and then the metal handlebar. These plastic fairings for the gas tank, I have decided that I'm not going to keep these black. I am actually going to I'm going to buff the surface of these and actually paint these as well. But y'all don't give a crap about that. Y'all want to see the tank. And I did go back to check to see how much I actually spent on this tank, and I was actually wrong. I apologize. I lied to y'all. Shame on me. I actually spent $135 on this tank. Here it is. Alright, the damage is apparent. It's right here. Kind of difficult to see, but it's there. But there's a hard edge right here, and then an indented edge here. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna get one of those dent pullers and use it from here, like a suction cup maybe, or like a glue dent puller, and pull that out. There's one other dent that's on the top here, and one more on the opposite side. So I'll flip this around. Can't really see what, there you go. Right above the K. Looks like a ball peen hammer hit that. But you know what? It's totally fine. I've already looked on the inside of the tank, and you can clearly tell that it is brand new. It's never been used. Gasoline has never seen the inside of this tank, so it's a brand new tank. I got it for $135. Come on, where can you get a better deal than that? Seriously, y'all. But yeah, this evening, this is my project. I'm gonna buff down. Why do I keep thinking that? I'm gonna sand all of these pieces here, all the fairings, and the actual tank itself. Bad news about this. I tried using the Allen wrench to get this bolt out. Now on this side it came out. It came out with no problems, but I accidentally rounded that sucker off.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Yeah, see how it's rounded off? So I can't take this off. just can't take it off. So I'm gonna have to use one of my special bits that will back that nut out, and I will have, that bolt out, and I will have to go to the store and go get one, or go get a replacement. So I will not be working on this evening, but my main target is all of this. So I've already gone ahead and finished up the sanding on these pieces here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start washing these off because I got some dirt on the backside and I need to get that get that all cleaned out before I do anything else with them. Yeah, I got some dirt in there. So let's go ahead and wash these out. Alright, now that these are all washed up and air drying, now let's go ahead and start prepping the tank.
Feeling the sun, party done, shadows walking home. Walking with a game on. You are my kind, classic mind, and you look so fine. Loving the cold, smoking rolls, see your fingers shake. And getting through your heartbreak. Some kind of free, same for me, don't know what I need. Don't doubt me, babe, you make me wanna change. Break my bed to make me wanna stay.
Alright, well I have finally completed the sanding of the gas tank and I got all of the clear coat off. I got the Suzuki emblem on the side off. The dent is still there, but I mean, I'll just deal with that later on. I also found the other part, the last piece, which was the handle on the tail section of the bike. I scuffed that up, so that's ready for paint. I'm gonna go ahead and actually wash these so that they are going to be clean come tomorrow morning, and I will have them air dry overnight. Now, along with these, which it turned out to be pretty decent. I went through quite a bit of sandpaper for that. But I ran into one small problem, and that was this right here. This is actually cracked. I don't know if I did that. I hope I didn't. If I did, oops. But I went ahead and I tried some Gorilla Glue. This stuff is actually supposed to be pretty gnarly. That way I can try to keep it together. And then whenever that's done, I have this body filler. I might be able to put that on there and actually fix it. I don't know. We're going to see what happens tomorrow morning. But these are the last of the pieces. They're all scuffed up. They're all clean. These are ready for paint. So I'm going to wash this, let it air dry overnight, and get back at it tomorrow morning. Here we are next day. Everything seems to have air dried pretty well. Let's see here. I also wanted to point out, I went ahead and I sanded this down. It's actually pretty flush now, and the crack is hardly noticeable. Focus. Yeah, I got it pretty smooth. I'm not gonna get all crazy with it because this is the underside of the bike and nobody's really ever gonna see it. But at least that seems to be fixed for now. I went over everything, made sure everything was all scuffed, no clear coat left, so I would have at least a good paint job. And the tank here, I got metal tabs, but I'm gonna have to rebend to straighten them out. I got this one up front, and then this one here, and then one on the other side. A little tip: don't paint over grass, because all the bugs will find your freaking paint and it's gonna make you mad. I have it over here so I can kind of like get this stuff organized, because there's some stuff going on up at the front of the house, and well, I just want to get this all preset and get these all hung and get it all organized so I can make the painting go as smooth as possible. Only today I'm going to do the primer coat, because it's kind of a windy day today, and I want to have an even coat with the base coat, which would be blue. And primer, I've got more cans of that than I do the actual base coat, so I might wait till tomorrow to actually do that, because I mean the weather today is it's really windy. As you can tell, I mean my stuff's swinging in the wind, so kind of frustrating, but you know, you got to deal with it. Alright y'all, well, I am done with the primer coat for today. Everything turned out pretty good. A couple runoffs, but mainly because the paint that I was using, it was really thin, and it was hard to judge where it was going, mainly because it was also windy outside. See that? Yeah. And I got an idea about the gas cap. So I put all 3 of the bolts that go to the top of this into the cardboard, and I sprayed it with gloss black and a couple layers of clear, and man, this thing looks really good. I didn't want it to look anything like this. I got this one from China, you know, and you can tell it just looks cheap, but in side-by-side comparison, that just looks really good. So there you go. With this pattern, this type of tank cover, or the keyless gas cap, I think that's gonna look sweet. So anyway, tonight the only thing I'm gonna do left is move the fuel pump from this tank over to this one, and that's gonna be it. I'm gonna start prepping this bike for the actual paint. Well, not the frame or anything, just I'm going to put plastic over it. I'm going to keep the frame silver for now, but I'm going to start getting this thing ready for tomorrow morning, because tomorrow hopefully I can get this part done. I'm really hoping I do. So alright, well, I will see y'all tomorrow. Then what I'll do after I'm done putting the fuel pump back in the tank, I will actually start the process of painting the blue base coat, which will be the base underneath the black gloss, and that will give us the marble effect. So first the blue base, and before I do the black at all, I'm actually going to put the panels on the bike before I do the gloss, but after I do the blue base. So when the panels go on the bike, they will be blue. I bought painter's plastic, and I'm going to drape that over the bike to prevent overspray. And then I'll do the black gloss really thick, and then I changed the black gloss to a paint that is not fast drying. If you're going to do this marble effect with black gloss, you do not want to use fast dry, because that will create a problem for you. If you want a good effect without it ripping the other paint layer off, that is highly recommended to do. Do not get fast dry, get the slow dry. I mean, it'll be labeled something different on the can, but I'm having a brain fart remembering what it's called. But anyhow, I'm going to drape plastic over the entire bike. I'm going to put the tank on top, which will be blue at the time. I'll put the tail section on, which will also be blue, and everything else will be covered in plastic. And then I'm going to spray the black gloss over it. I'll use the saran wrap to create the marble effect, peel that off, and that will give us our marble effect design. So let's get busy. Just finished the paint on this, all base coat. I got about 6 layers of the blue, and even with 6 layers, you can still see it's kind of thin. It's just some really thin paint. Good color, but man, it's thin. Got a little bit close a couple times. It started to run a little bit, but it's alright. It's not bad. I got all these panels out here curing and baking in the sun, so it'll help dry faster. And then next step will be to do the black gloss for the marble effect. I'll bring it back out here one more time and let it bake in the sun, let it cure, and then I'll put the clear. Now after letting all this stuff bake in the sun and finally cure, it is time for the next step, wet sanding. So let's talk about wet sanding real quick and inform you guys as to why I do what I do. Alright, the wet sanding that I use, or the sandpaper I use, is the 600 grit. Well, I got the light on. It's a 600 grit wet dry sandpaper. If you rub your thumb on it or your finger, it's fairly smooth. It doesn't have a lot of grit to it, which is exactly what you're looking for. You don't want to get too aggressive digging into the actual fresh paint that you just put on your on whatever it is that you're painting. So let's sit down here for a second. Alright, so what I do on this is I actually mix water with some soap, which makes it look pretty slick, and then the actual soap, the sandpaper doesn't get so aggressive with the surface of your painted project. Alright, now if you look close, you see how smooth that is, how glossy it is? Well, that's fresh paint. Alright, now here's the difference. Here's a panel that I used earlier. See the swirls and it's slightly scuffed? But it's still got the paint on there. It looks good, but it's fairly scuffed. Alright, now that is good. Those are, really small ridges. When you look on here, there's no ridges, none whatsoever. You see that difference? Alright, now what that does is, by this, after you wet sand it, you're actually giving this some small, microscopic ridges, real small. And what that allows you to do is it gives your paint the ability to have something to hang on to. Okay, if it's super smooth like this and you just spray, and if you're doing layered paint, in this case I'm doing the blue, then I'm doing the gloss black, and then I'll do a layer of clear coat. If you spray anything else on here, it'll stick, but it'll flake off because there's nothing that it's grabbing onto. It's super slick. It's like glass. But if you give it ridges to hang on to, it has something to stick to, which means your paint will stick and it won't flake off, and you won't have any issues. Whenever it comes to your primer coat, you wet sand, and then your base coat, you wet sand, and then another layer coat if you choose to, and then finally, after you lay down your clear coat, you want to do again a light layer of wet sanding, but then you want to buff it after that, and that will completely fill in all those ridges, and that's how you get your mirror shine after you finish your paint job. So that is exactly why I do the wet sanding with some soap. It prevents friction, and it doesn't allow you to get too aggressive with your actual paint job itself. Not to mention, what am I missing? Oh yeah. Some folks, they use just the sandpaper. All right, and I'm using a really small panel here and a small piece of sandpaper. That's all right. On larger panels, some folks actually use a sponge. In this case, I don't have a sponge, but this one is close enough. I was able to, flip this over and just do this to it. I'm able to do that. It's okay. You can use it this way. It allows even pressure throughout the entire panel. But you would want to use like these sponges and stuff on big panels, like on the side of a car, because it'll you don't get like finger ridges, and you'll get sand lines because your fingers This distributes the pressure evenly across the entire pad, so that's why people use sponges, and it's smart to do that. However, I'm not really doing that on a panel this small. I'm actually laying this down and I'm just lightly, I mean I can with a finger, okay, but I'm spacing it out. I'm lightly dragging it across. Of course I'm going to use a lot of soap, right? I'm just going to lightly go over it a few times. I'm not going to get crazy, just a little bit, back and forth. Alright, and that's it. That's pretty much all you need. Just a little bit of scuff. And what you should be able to feel is the difference right here. Okay? You take your finger and drag, right? And you'll feel how it's real smooth. But then over the surface that you just sanded, you should feel like it's pulling back on your finger. Alright? And that's what you want to feel is friction. Over here, I can slide right off. Up here, not so easy. I can push the panel. Look at that. That's what you're looking for. But I didn't get too crazy with it. So that's the difference between your wet sanding with like soap, a sponge, your pressure. Don't forget that, and surfaces that are just freshly painted. Hopefully this helps you guys out. This, I'm pretty sure, can help out quite a few folks, or quite a few of y'all that have never done this before and have no idea how important wet sanding truly is. Alright guys, well that's going to conclude part 1 of this 2-part series. Stay tuned for part 2 coming up next here on the SV Creative channel.